Hello, BookTube. Sorry for no videos yesterday, but it had a discrete and diagnosable cause. Yesterday I experienced something I have heard about from other booktubers. A day that is in itself, in real life, just fine, but that is a nightmare for filming. A bad filming day. Once upon a time, I'm sure, have derided such a concept, but now I've experienced it. I tried 4 different times yesterday to make at least one video. 4 different tries, and 4 different catastrophic things went wrong. And I admit, by the 4th try, it could have been anything, and I would have been outraged. So it didn't necessarily have to be 4 catastrophes, one way or another. After the 4th one, I just gave up. And once again yearned for a booktube-style bulletin board, a communal bulletin board, so that I could let you all know that you're not going to get a video today. Maybe Twitter is that, or maybe Instagram, but one way or another. I just dropped everything. That plus the combination of that and a bunch of other things, the news of the day, the New York Times story on BookTube, a whole bunch of things just drove me out of the internet world completely, and I just read all night long. And then this morning I thought, okay, anybody can have a bad day. It was all just random chance. That's all, just happened to be bad chances, so we will try again today. And this morning I tried to make a video and failed completely. Another catastrophe happened. So then, this morning, I said, all right, well, that's enough of that. Wait a year and then come back to this. But that's not how most people think, and I acknowledge that. So now my mind frame is that I will just keep going until finally a video works. I don't know how long that will be. I don't know what catastrophe will stop this video from happening. I'm going to make every video under the assumption that something is going to go irremediably wrong. There are setbacks in every video, but I'm going to assume now that in every video something is going to go so wrong that I can't post the video, and that this is in effect a waste of my time. But I'm going to persist anyway on the chance that I get a video up that I can actually share with you, because I miss seeing your faces. I thought we'll go with some old reliables today to try and make things easier. So we'll do a mail haul. I have a mail haul here. I know you're going to ask, so you have missed 3 mail hauls. Through no fault of mine, I have tried my hardest to film them. I'm going to try this one too. And it's a fair amount, just a few packages here. And it starts off with something very thin. So it will either be the lady or the tiger. Those of you who are familiar with this channel. It will either be something I really don't want, a slim volume of poetry, or it'll be something I really do want, and that is a book catalog. Well, we'll see. We'll see which it is here. Now you can see clearly on camera I am not finessing this. This is a paper envelope, and it is not tearing. You've seen me manhandle cardboard boxes. This is not tearing. That is the sort of thing that happened non-stop yesterday. It was just tearing along the flap, but the paper did not tear. So that's all right. We'll see. We'll see. Oh, it's a catalog. It's Pegasus books. They do such good stuff. Oh, and the catalog itself is so pretty. How nice. All right, this is their winter catalog. So the first one is by Kate Williams, The Betrayal of Mary Queen of Scots, a new book about Mary Queen of Scots and Queen Elizabeth I. Then we have a book on the new state of South Sudan, A Rope from the Sky, the world's newest state. A book on the Knights Templar, persecution of the Knights Templar. A novel called Bear No Malice by Clarissa Harwood. A new biography of John Lennon at 450 pages. New novel by Simon Mayo. Oh, goodness gracious. Okay. A new 350-page biography of Queen Elizabeth II, Queen of the World, by Robert Hardman. Okay. Well, I won't miss it. I, of course, won't miss it. I don't know what more you can do. Wow. Here's The Color of Time, A New History of the World by Dan Jones, but it's only 450 pages long. So on the one hand, you have Dan Jones, who's fantastic, but on the other hand, you have a guarantee of massive corner cutting. So, and a couple more novels. History of Opium. The Man in the Willows, A New Life of Kenneth Graham, the author of The Wind in the Willows. Fantastic. That's 350 pages. Con Eagledon writes a big novel about Sparta, the Falcon of Sparta. See, these are all good, meaty stuff. I love Pegasus books. I really do. Men of the Air, a new book about Bomber Command. the British bomber command during World War II. A book called The Story of Britain by Roy Strong, 600 pages long, on just a one-volume history of England. And of course, one of the things to do in a book catalog is to look at the paperbacks and see if yours truly has been blurbed on any of them. We shall see. We shall see. A new book about the history of Graham Greene's novel Our Man in Havana. Something called Forgotten Victory by Robin Cross, Operation Dragoon and the Allied Liberation of the South of France. Thankless book called Working with Winston. Oh my. Oh my. The Secret War Against Napoleon by Tim Clayton. All sorts of assassination attempts on the pestiferous little Corsican. Oh my, a new biography of Louis XIV. Again, only 500 pages, but it's by Josephine Wilkinson. There it is. That's intriguing. Big new book on Goya. No, I'm sorry. It's a tiny new book on Goya. It's Goya, the Terrible Sublime. It's a 120-page graphic novel. Could be interesting. New book on the Tour de France. The End of the Beginning by Michael Kinch, Cancer, Immunity, and the Future of a Cure. Oh my, oh goodness gracious. Christopher Snyder, Gatsby's Oxford. Scott Zelda, The Jazz Age, in The Invasion of Britain, 1904 and 1929. Wow. American Sensibilities Invading Britain. Ian Tattersall co-writes a new book on evolution. That's great. New book on narcissism, of course. Any publisher that has anything like Malignant Narcissism or Autocracy or the Rise of Fascist Dictatorship in their slush pile is just fleshing them out and putting covers on them. You're going to sell them now or you're never going to get a chance to do it again. Then we move on to, what have we got here? More new hardcovers. We have a whole bunch of historical murder mysteries. That's lots of fun. A whole bunch of murder mysteries in series, so I'll be asking for a lot of earlier books. Whole bunch of contemporary fiction. Let's move on to paperbacks and just see. So again, Con Ingleton, he's a big client of theirs. Ravenspur, his Ravenspur, The Rise of the Tudors is out in paperback. I never actually did get around to reviewing it. That's too bad. Paperback of The New Life of Marlene Dietrich. A paperback of Emily Hauser's novel of Jason and the Argonauts that I never got to. It feels terrible, but I never did. I meant to. I dipped my toe in. I liked what I read, but nothing more than that. Leaving the Wild. Remember that? Remember getting that? We got the advanced copy and the hardcover. Leaving the Wild is about the domestication of cats, horses, dogs, and cattle. And I liked it. I liked it quite a bit. Caesar's Footprints by Bijan Omrani. Book about... Oh, here we go. Here we go. Paperback of The Three Musketeers. That's got to have a blurb by yours truly. Yeah, it does. Yes, indeed. Open Letters Review. Very good. The test of a translator and his capacity to capture this characteristic interplay. Oh, no, that's not mine. That's Zach Raberoff who wrote that review. Wonderful. Oh, that's fantastic. And then... okay, well, we've got an Open Letters Review on Three Musketeers. That's wonderful. I don't know if Zach is still alive. If he is, I'll pass along word to him, and if he has gone to that great writing procrastination in the sky, I'll pass it along to his next of kin. What else have we got here? In the Shadow of Agatha Christie. Classic mystery stories in paperback. Yeah, I can't help but think that a lot of these things will sell better in paperback than they did as expensive hardcovers. And then those page after page of paperbacks, a lot of which I've reviewed, but none of which are really blurbed. Okay, fantastic. The one thing I'm not noticing here is an order sheet or request sheet of any kind. Maybe I have to read the fine print. All right, so let's move on. That's good. That's a very good way to start. A good catalog full of stuff, including an Open Letters Review blurb. So, those of you who might not know what I'm talking about, Open Letters Review is a literary journal that I helped to form over 10 years ago under the name Open Letters Monthly. Now exists as Open Letters Review, and we run content all the time, new content every day. So in addition to being a book reviewer, which you'll all know from watching this channel, I'm also an editor, and would be happy to help you if you want to write a review for us. We have a fairly strong masthead, including some booktubers that you know and like, and some published people. And we have the ear of the industry. Open Letters Review, for instance, under the name Open Letters Review, not Open Letters Monthly, is less than a year old. And it's online only, and it's free. And it's got a blurb in a major catalog. It's going to be on a paperback that's in every bookstore and in many universities all throughout the country. That's outside of its weight class. So if you feel like writing reviews, feel free to let me know. Fantastic. Okay. I am not as familiar with this author as I really should be, so this is wonderful. This is science fiction. This is Unholy Land by Lavie Tidhar. Isn't that lovely? Look at that. Isn't that lovely? This comes out, when does this come out? When do you arrive? This is from Tachyon Books, and it comes out in November. Okay. When author Lior Tirosh slips through time to rediscover his homeland, much has changed. Palestina, a Jewish state now located in East Africa, is constructing a massive border wall to keep out refugees, and unrest in the capital is at a fever pitch. Lost in this new Palestina, Tirosh has begun to believe that he is a detective, but his investigations have attracted two of Palestina's most deadly operatives. Bloom, a ruthless state security officer, is pursuing Tirosh as a suspect in a string of murders. Noor, a hunter of rifts in reality, is unearthing her country's darkest secrets. From Lavie Tidhar, the award-winning author of Central Station, comes this extraordinary new novel in his inimitable style, entertaining and subversive in equal measures. And that's all that I've heard about this author, but I've only read a tiny amount of stuff. So that's great. That's fantastic. And it's lovely, too. So this is going to be a paperback. Oh, fantastic. Okay, so in November, Unholy Land is going to look just like this, I would imagine. And it's only going to be $15. So great. Another good way to start. All right, so things are looking marginally optimistic. We shall see. Of course, that the books are only part of the problem. If Frida starts throwing up, I'm going to have to stop. What have we got here? Okay. Okay, this comes out in early September. This is a finished copy of War Stories by Peter Snow and Anne Macmillan. A fascinating account of ordinary men and women swept up in the turbulence of conflict. This book tells the stories of 35 individuals who have pushed the boundaries of love, bravery, suffering, and terror beyond the imaginable. Told with vivid narrative energy and full of unexpected insights, War Stories moves effortlessly from tales of spies, escapes, and innovation to uplifting acts of humanity in times of crisis. Okay. All right, great. And our authors, there they are. I could look at his face all day. Peter Snow is a highly respected author and broadcaster. And Anne Macmillan grew up in Canada, where she worked in CHIN Radio, Global TV News, and CTV News. And they are husband and wife writing team. Fantastic. Okay, so War Stories. Very, very attractive as a package. Okay, so we're moving on here. Let's see if there's anything in this. This is from Melville House. It's due in October. It doesn't really have a... Oh, yes, it does. Okay. This is by Joshua Hunt, and it is the University of Nike. Which is a dramatic expose that reveals the educational sacrifices... Yeah, a siren is small potatoes. After what I've been through in the last day and a half, small potatoes. This is a dramatic expose that reveals the educational sacrifices the University of Oregon made to maintain Nike's corporate sponsorship. Broken into 3 parts, the book navigates the development of the relationship between the U of O and Nike, the personal choices of Nike's president, David Frohmeyer, that he made to protect the bond despite serious sacrifices, and the ultimate toll Nike's veiled interference with the campus's recent sexual assault allegations had on the school's reputation. Good Lord. Okay, so this is reporting. This is summarized reporting from Melville House. Wow. Okay. Great. All right. So October, late October. And then what else have we got here? Oh, this package is from Pegasus Books. So we just started off with their catalog. We'll finish with one of their books. What have we got here? Oh, wonderful. Okay. This is another pretty thing. This is by Garrett Peck. This is The Great War in America. Look how nice that is. Let's hope the finished copy ends up looking that nice. The Great War's bitter outcome left the experience largely overlooked and forgotten in American history. This timely book is a re-examination of America's first global experience as we commemorate World War I's centennial. America's first global... Okay, all right. The U.S. had steered clear of European conflagration known as the Great War for more than 2 years, but President Woodrow Wilson reluctantly led the divided country into the conflict with the goal of making the world safe for democracy. The country assumed a global role for the first time and attempted, for the first time, will you stop saying that? Oh my God. And attempted to build the foundations of world peace only to witness the experience go badly awry, and it retreated into isolationism. Though overshadowed by the catastrophic destruction of World War II, the Great War was the most important war of the 20th century. It was the first continent-wide conflict in a century, and it drew much of the world into its fire. By the end, 4 empires and their royal houses had fallen, communism was unleashed, the map of the Middle East was redrawn, and the United States emerged as a global power. But the United States was disillusioned with what it achieved in the war and withdrew into itself. Okay, all right. Well, all right, this comes out in early December. I don't believe there's any good faith way that you can say that World War I was, how do you put it, the most important war of the 20th century. That distinction goes to World War II. Every single measurement listed here, it was a continent-wide, the first continent-wide conflict in a century, is not true. And it drew much of the world into its fire, but World War II drew twice as much of the world into its fire. So I mean, not to slight, but I don't think you need to overstate to make the case that you should read about World War I. I guess we'll see. It seems to me, though, that the effect that World War I had on America, pushing it into isolationism, and the claim that World War I is the most important war of the 20th century, it strikes me that those are two different books. I think the author's going to be mighty busy trying to substantiate both of those in the same book. But we shall see. I'm right on board to read it. And then we finish with this one. I'm a little bit surprised because so far nothing has happened to stop this video from going up. And that hasn't happened in 6 tries. So let's see, what is this next one? Okay, this is by Fiona Neal, and it is The Betrayals. Sometimes there are 4 sides to a story. Which do you believe? Kind of an evocative cover. Best friends Rosie and Lisa's families have always been inseparable. But this family dynamic is torn apart one summer when Rosie Rankin's best friend has an affair with her husband Nick. None of them would forget that week on the wild Norfolk seacoast. As the consequences reverberate down through the lives of both families, the reader not only witnesses but experiences the relationship fracture and disintegrate. 8 years later, when equilibrium is almost within reach, Rosie's daughter Daisy's fragile hold on reality unravels when a letter arrives opening all old wounds. Teenage son Max blames himself for everything that happened that long, hot summer, and Nick must confront his own version of events. Oh, okay, so it's not just the story, it's then the story recalled, and more further fragmentation. Oh, that sounds good. That sounds very good. Okay, so that is in early September. That I am definitely going to read. All right, so we did it. Amazingly, we got through a mail haul. I don't see any reason why I can't post this. The worst thing was a siren. Yesterday, literal explosions went off in the construction lot across the street. Literal explosions. So a siren's nothing. So we have The Betrayals. Plural. Stress on the plural. I would imagine that's going to become very important in the course of the book. The Great War in America. The University of Nike, the University of Oregon, and Nike sponsorship. Getting to bed with a gigantic corporation. Then war stories. Just all different varieties of them. And Unholy Land by science fiction author about whom I have heard nothing but good things by people who know what they're talking about. So, and also buried underneath here somewhere is the catalog, the winter catalog for Pegasus books, which will occupy me for quite a bit of time. So there you go. That is a mail haul, and maybe that means we're back on track. That would be wonderful. We'll see. I will try to make more videos, and we'll see if it keeps working. And in the meantime, I'll see you soon, I hope. Thank you, BookTube.